Well, it is officially 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Welcome to the Sunday video update. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. Joining me off camera this week is well, he's actually not off camera, not technically. Amy's gone for the weekend. She should be back sometime later this week. But she's doing okay. Everything's good. But she should, or actually, yeah, tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow. Yep, she's doing okay. She's gone for the weekend, but she'll be back home tomorrow. We just got home from Grandpa Fuller's. Well, actually, not just come home from Grandpa Fuller. We've been home for about a half hour. Um, we went over there. Well, we had to go to Leighton Corners because I had to buy some spark plugs for my van, which I may not need them, but we'll find out how that goes. But after we left Bauman Brothers, the auto parts store, we went out to Grandpa Fuller's, and I gotta say it was a rather interesting visit, and we've been talking about this visit we all the way home, and even before I went live, we were just talking about this. But my grandpa Fuller was able to obtain some information about our family history, like stacks of paperwork, like stacks. I've seen the paperwork, and it just goes and goes and goes, page after page after page. I mean, there's so much history behind, our history of our family, and it's the information was just mind blowing, and it's like wow, um, birth dates and it started with Grandpa Fuller and his parents and their parents and so on and so forth, and it's like wow, this is my family history. Like our family dates back, or the recorded history, I should say, dates back all these centuries. The earliest date that I saw, because we were just, quickly skimming through the paperwork, and the earliest I saw was 1750. Um, and that was really super fascinating, and I'm really ecstatic about it. Grandpa Fuller did mention something about copies, which there's like thousands of sheets of paper, and I'm not exaggerating when I say there's like thousands of sheets of paper. I mean, like this much, and it's just page after page. It would take you probably 3 months to read it. Yeah, there's just so much family history. I had a grandfather who was born in Staffordshire, England, and he was a British Indian, so we've got British ancestry, although we always knew we had Indian ancestry. Um, I don't know what year he was born. I was just blown away by all this information, and ancestry from India, just like the country India, and it's like this is really cool shit, and Grandpa's reading through it, and I spotted. I was like, whoa, 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 Grandpa, wait a minute. He says, what? I said that this is Choctaw Indian. He says, yep. So my aunts, I know, at least I know some of our ancestry is from Choctaw Indians because it's in the paperwork. Um, there's just so much information, so much information. Um, I found out that his grandpa, I think his name was Lewis. He was born in 1883, and he was blind, um, or should I say visually impaired? That's the politically correct language, but he was blind, and yeah, I found out some information about my grandpa's mother. Her name was Violet Giroux, and I found out who that I had aunts and uncles that I've never met. Um, there's Eileen and LG and um, wow, it just goes. Bernice, I think, was another one. I had an Aunt Bernice. I mean, there's just so many aunts, uncles, and cousins that I've never met before. They all died before I was born, but yeah, I think even before Dad was born. In fact, there were some that died in 1957. So the year Uncle Danny was born, they passed away. So Uncle Danny wouldn't even remember who they were. But there's just so much interesting information, and Dad and I agreed that if more copies are made, we'll pitch in money for the cost of the ink and the paper and all the copies. We'll pitch money in because I would love to have um, the copies of all that paperwork, uh, it's just fascinating stuff to me just to find out, like the Fuller family history, and it trails back centuries, generations. Uh, just really cool stuff, and I'm still ecstatic about it. I'm really just blown away by all the information that I found out. And I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise because the chain of life has to start. There's a time for it that it had to start, obviously, and then since the beginning of recorded history, I guess they just you know kept up with it all. But yeah, just really cool stuff. Um, I found out a lot of information about my mom's side of the family, and I'm learning some new information about the Fuller side of the family because there was a lot of speculation for many years about what we thought, our family history was, and we weren't really sure. Like, well, we heard this and heard that, but we didn't know. And now we got the evidence. There's mountains of paperwork. I can't stress that enough. Um, there's just so much information. Like yeah, thanks, Grandpa. When I come over there again, we'll have to read through more of it, but we don't want to get the paperwork all mixed up. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to take some paper over the next time I go to my grandpa's, because see, my grandpa, he's like the last of his siblings, as far as I know, right? Because Uncle Ellen's gone and Uncle Don passed away, and Uncle Earl is gone. So he's like the last surviving member of the family. So he would know because he would be the patriarch of our immediate family. So he would have that information. So if I when I go over there again, I'm gonna have to take some paper, some line paper, and kind of write all this shit down because I mean that's my heritage, that's my family, it's where I came from, and I'm really just it just blows me away. I'm just really super fascinated by that stuff. Um, most of the like the relatives, ancestors who were born in Michigan, I've found were born right here in Saginaw County. So it stands to reason. I mean, all of our family would live here in Saginaw County and Shiawassee but I'm talking just the Fullers now, Dad. Just the Fullers, not You know, the Fullers, well, I take that back. The Fullers and the Giroux. The Fuller family and the Giroux family. Um, that's what we were told. That the last name Giroux derives from Geronimo Indians. I don't know how true that is. But it would be worth looking into. And I also found out that I don't know how true this is either, but it I was told that I had an aunt named Eileen who dated Al Capone. I don't know how true it is, though. Don't know how true it is. I've only ever heard that. I don't have any way to verify that that is true. Um, and I don't like to give out misinformation, but that was the rumor. That was what was going around that I had an aunt who dated the well-known mobber. I'll call him a mobber, a mob leader, Al Capone. And that's my cat. Hey, shut up. But maybe she's ecstatic about our family history, that's why she's meowing. Um, I don't know, you don't have to find an interest in it, but I'm really interested. I mean, you would be interested if it was your family, you would wanna know where you came from, you would wanna know your heritage and your background and all this informa I mean, like I said, the earliest date that I found in the paperwork was back in 1750. I mean, that's a long, long time ago. Uh just incredible. So I can't get it out of my mind. It's just so fucking cool. I got family history and I like to know where I came from and like anybody else, they would want to know their ancestry and they would want to know the earliest ancestors. And I told grandpa and grandpa thought it was funny. I told grandpa, I said, well, now that we got all this information about our family history, now I would be licensed to say that the Fullers came over on the Mayflower, the Mayflower, and Grant, he thought about it, and he kinda laughed. He's like, "Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we our ancestors came over to Michigan on the Mayflower," which that's not true. There's no such thing as a Mayflower ship or whatever. But it's a funny joke. I told that joke at one of the, little gatherings we had, and, well, no, when I said it, he laughed. But anyway, I got carried away on that. I'm just really excited and ecstatic about some information that I learned about my family, and I'll get right over to Dad. How was your week, Dad? Um, and kind of shifting gears a little bit, there are a couple announcements I need to make. Um, my cousin Brian passed away on Wednesday at the age of 42. I made a quick video and I uploaded it to my YouTube channel here. His funeral will be tomorrow at Nelson House in Owasso, from 11 until, what is it, 1? I think it is. Yeah, they're gonna have, people come in and, for the viewing, and then they're gonna have the funeral after that. I don't know, if he's gonna be buried or cremated, I'm not sure. Um, but he was a young man. He was 42 years old, and, and it just happened so quick, like, we just saw my cousin Brian at the Back 40, uh, months ago, just, maybe 2, 3 months ago. He came in with his fiance and he introduced her to us, and she was a really nice girl, and she was wearing a Michigan State Spartan shirt, which, okay, a bit biased, but I'm a Sparty fan just like she is, so we immediately clicked, and she was a really nice girl, and Brian seemed happy. He was all smiles and asking us how we were doing, gave us hugs, and yeah, yeah, and by the way, the death isn't COVID. I know COVID is a hot button issue. It wasn't the fucking COVID that killed him. Um, Brian had other health issues that I really don't want to get into here, but and it all happened so fast. It happened really quick, and my love and condolences go out to my cousins, which would be his brothers and sisters. Some of them, well, at least from my aunt Anna's uh, kids. Um, so there's that. I lost a cousin on Wednesday, and there was another, uh, the death of a cancer warrior from England. She passed away last week, and she was only 7 years old. 7 years old, or no, yeah, she was 7 years old. So, and I took that really hard because I used to talk with her mom all the time, and I found out the news on Facebook that she passed away, and it's like, oh my god, oh my god. And I broke down. I broke down crying. It's like I can't fucking deal with this. You know, it was too hard to deal. But just imagine what her parents are going through. I can't, because I've never been in that position or that situation. But when you lose anybody that you love dearly, there's always that feeling of emptiness, and you feel numb, and it's like, what the fuck, my heart is gone. So my love and condolences go out to the family of the little girl who passed away last week, and her funeral was on Friday. They wanted to just get it done and over with as quickly as possible, which is understood. Um, but she was a beautiful little girl, and she's sadly missed by all of us. And I just hope that her family will find ways to cope and get through for the rest of their life, I guess. I don't know. It's really sad. And there were some things that I wanted to talk about this week. And that is, for the past week, I've been dealing with nonstop pity parties from people who just don't want to grow up and get their shit together. Now, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I kind of briefly talked about this. And there's people who are just constantly in poor, pitiful me mode all the time, and they just, why me and why this and why that, and and this isn't any way tied in with parents who grieve over the loss of their children. That's got nothing to do with that. It's an entirely completely different story. There's no time limit on grief, and I've been doing a lot of grieving myself, so it has nothing to do with grieving. Grown people, and they cry about it. Oh, my life sucks. Why? You know what? There's people, and I don't want to play the comparison game with people who have, they deal with shit every day like all of us do. Um, I don't want to play get into this comparison game. Well, their problems are worse than yours, and this, that, and the other. But there are people who are just they are grown, but they're not mature enough to handle situations when faced with pressure. Like I deal with all the time, just stupid stuff. I mean, just recently I had someone tell me that their mother is sick and they don't know how to feel about it. Well, I'm sorry. If it was my parent, I would definitely know how to fucking feel about it. Uh, my heart would be shattered into billions of pieces if I found out that my parents had some kind of a malady that could potentially result in death. I mean, how do you say that to me? Well, I really don't know how to feel about it. You're a fucking idiot if you don't know how to feel about it. You're just a straight up idiot. Um, and really what it is, it's lame ass attention seeking bullshit, and I'm not gonna play that game. When I was sick with cancer, I can guarantee you that my mom and dad didn't sit around thinking to themselves, "Gee, how should I feel about my baby on his deathbed? He could potentially die from this shit. Gee, how should I feel about that?" That is the dumbest, most absurd shit that I've ever heard in my life. For even someone to say that to me is just fucking remarkably stupid. Don't come at me with, "I don't know how to feel about that." You're an idiot. And if you're trying to get attention from me, it's not gonna happen. I cannot deal with sheer ignorance and poor pitiful me, and, you know, learn to deal with things. Our lives aren't the greatest. I don't live the perfect life. Dad'll tell you that. We we don't live a perfect life, but when we're confronted with issues, we deal with them. And instead of whining and groping, whining and griping and complaining and moaning is what I meant to say. Griping and moaning combined makes groping, I guess. But instead of crying a fucking river about things that we actually can control, we actually just go out and change what we don't like, or at least try to, if possible. We don't sit around and, "Oh, why me?" and, "Oh, I just want to die." These the empty veiled threats of suicide is another thing that really fucking boggles my mind. And and I say that very lightly because I don't want to make light of actual mental health issues. There's people who struggle with that every day, and I'm not trying to make light of that. But I'm talking about these people who are just seeking attention. You know that they're not going to do anything to harm themselves. You just know them well enough to know that they're not going to do anything stupid. And here they are. They sit and poor pitiful me, why life, why this, why that? I want to die. Someone kill me. All the stupid shit that doesn't amount to much of anything other than whining. To which point I would tell these people to get off your candy ass, get on your 2 feet, march out that fucking door, and do something about your life. If there's something in your life that you don't like, you change it. You don't just sit around and seek pity from people. I am so fed up with that, and I've dealt with that for the past week. "Oh, I wanna die and nobody loves me." You know what? Just shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Grow up, get a life, just stop. And these are grown people. These are people in their 20s, 30s, even 40s and 50s. They whine about situations that they themselves create or they allow to happen in the first place. Excuse me. Instead of actually getting off their ass and doing something to change a situation. They want to sit around and, oh, I'm so depressed. I don't have money. I don't have this. I don't have that. So then get off your ass and change it. Speak up and say something. If you're living a certain way that you don't like, fucking speak up.
Joe whining at me, and I said, Joe, let me tell you about my day.
I'm
You don't
just,
want to hear it. Let me tell you about my day, how it's going. I got a nephew that just passed away. I got a nephew in the hospital. They can't do surgery because his blood pressure keeps going up and down.
my cousin Michael.
And he needs to have it.
You know, there's people, and again, I'm not going to play the comparison game and you know whose problem is worse than the others, but there are people with legitimate fucking problems, and you know those are out of our control.
I can understand nervous breakdown. You know, if you get so bottled up that people
Yes.
just keep throwing in your face. And
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about
yeah.
like in my cousin Michael's situation. He's in the hospital, and you know that's a situation that is out of our hands. It's out of our control. But I'm also talking about people who sit around and piss and moan and complain about situations that they tolerate themselves. Instead of telling somebody, you know what, get off your ass and do something, or get out, they just want to sit around. I'm so depressed. My life sucks. Yeah, well, you know what? Life sucks for all of us. But you know what the best thing about life is? That when you wake up in the morning, you get to make a decision. You get to, well, that's a positive attitude, but you get to make a decision. You get to make a choice. Do I let things affect me negatively? Do I react positively when negative things happen? Or do I let little teensy weensy little minuscule trivial things bother me for the rest of the fucking day? You have a choice. It's up to you. And I said the same thing on Facebook. People need to just put their fucking pants on and grow up, and stop acting like little candy ass weasels, and take accountability and responsibility for the choices you make. That's really all I got to say about that. Because the shit gets old, it gets tiresome, it gets aggravating, and most of all, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. Y'all need to grow up, take some responsibility and some accountability, and start putting your foot down and changing what you don't like. Stop sitting around whining like a fucking baby because, oh, I don't have no money. I don't have. Well, you know what? Then you're going to have to make some changes. Just like I don't hear from anybody until they need something, which I think we're all in that now. I mean, we all have that one person where we don't hear from them until they need something. Well, I'm not going to be the go-to all the time. You know, there's shit that I have to take care of here at home. And it's not that I don't mind helping people, but being taken advantage of is another. And I do mind that very much. But you know, and people who are just so hypersensitive about everything, they think they need pampered about everything. Oh, they raise their voice at me, and oh, I don't like it when they make their eyes get big at me. Grow up. Just grow up. You know, when someone raises their voice at me, I just look at them and smile. Like, is raising your voice going to be any more compelling than you not raising your voice? Like, what the fuck is that? You can raise your voice, that's fine. But it all remains the same, whatever the situation is. You're not going to, scare me or guilt me into something. It's just not going to happen. Mature people know how to handle and react to situations like that. And most people who just want pampered and they want their belly rubbed and they want someone to feel bad for them and pity them all the time, that shit's got to stop. Like, seriously. I can't take it anymore, and it drives me nuts. And that's why I'll post on Facebook every so often. I'll update my status. And then, just scrolling through and seeing everybody's whiny, pissy, bitching, moaning posts on Facebook, I put the phone down. I'm done. I can't deal with it anymore. If people come to me and say, well, I'm having my marriage is on the rocks and, I'm having a hard time dealing with that. And they're not looking for pity. They're just looking for someone to talk to. which I have private conversations with friends all the fucking time, and they talk about personal shit. And I'm not gonna give names because it's not important, but what's important to me is that I know who those people are, and they reach out to me and say, "Hey, Jared, I'm having a problem," or, "I'm just having a hard time right now. I just need somebody to talk to, need somebody to vent my frustrations." They don't plaster it all over fucking Facebook and trying to get people to feel bad for them and, "Oh, poor pitiful me." No, they message me privately and they say, "Can I talk to you about something? Something's kinda bothering me and I need somebody to talk to." And as a friend, I open my arms, my ears, and my eyes, and I say, "Let's have it. What you got? What's bothering you?" So, um, I don't mind the private conversations, but it's the people who are just constantly, failed relationships. "Oh, I don't know why she left me. I wanna kill myself." And it's like, I've seen enough. I just can't deal with it. Um, and I'm not saying that there's not people out there who would legit do themselves in, because they have some kind of a mental health issue, and we have all kinds of stigma surrounding mental health, which I think sucks, because if you have a problem mentally, you should be able to vent that to somebody. But to plaster it all over Facebook, now it becomes a pity party. And I last time I checked didn't fucking RSVP to your fucking pity party. I don't wanna deal with that. And you were saying? Well, what were you gonna say? Just a fleeting thought goes out of your mind as quick as it comes in, huh? I don't care for the pity parties. I just take some responsibility. Grow up, do what you're supposed to do, take care of business, and stop fucking pouting on social media. I don't know. If I pouted as much as everybody else does, and my face would look funny, but my house would be flooded in tears. I don't know. I don't get it. Um, oh, there was something else I wanted to talk about too, and it just escaped me. There's been so much going on lately. This past week, there's a lot going on. Oh yeah, I made a video of some celebrities, famous people who were born here in Michigan. I didn't upload it to this channel, but the video's out there, and I'll get it uploaded to my channel very soon, so all of you can take a look at it. Um, it's kind of fascinating, all the people who were born here, people that you wouldn't think were born in Michigan because they spend so much time in Hollywood, or they spend so much time not in Michigan. But a lot of famous people were born here, um, like David Spade, Matthew Lillard, Burt Reynolds was born here. He was born in Lansing. Tom Selleck was born here. Casey Kasem, Kristen Bell, Terry Crews, Iggy Pop was born here. Um, I'm trying to think who else. David Allen Greer, uh, Taylor Lautner, Alice Cooper, Vern Troyer was born here. Um, Glenn Fry from the Eagles and Miami Vice. He was born in Detroit. Ken Jeong was born here. You wouldn't think, but he was. He was born in Detroit. Um, there's just a lot of famous people who were born in Michigan. And I guess because I'm pseudo famous, should I have included myself in that video? Nah, nah. I'm pseudo famous. There's only a little bit of people who know, and I say a little bit, like there's just a few people who know me out there. Or there's most people who watch my videos and they keep their mouth shut. They won't subscribe to my channel. They won't have anything to do with me or my channel, but they sure as fuck watch the live stream so they can run back and tell the people who are against me. Like I give a fuck, really. I don't care. Um, but anyway, it's interesting to know all the famous people. Like Sandra Bernhardt was born in Flint. Larry Joe Campbell, he was a guy who played the role of Andy on the TV show According to Jim. Remember him, Dad? He was born in Pontiac. Um, yeah, so just a lot. Well, when you Google Larry Joe Campbell, it shows that he's born in Cadillac. But when you go on his IMDb page, the Internet Movie Database, it shows that he was born in Pontiac. They getting their cars mixed up. I don't know. It's just really interesting anyway. So my van was kind of running like shit yesterday. There was like a misfire, and it wouldn't, stay up to speed going down the road. It would like miss going down the road. So I went to AutoZone and I had them put it on the diagnostic testing machine, and it turns out that my mass airflow sensor is faulty, when in fact I just put a new one on. So I'm a bit miffed by this whole thing because it's like, if I replace the mass airflow sensor, why the fuck is it going to come up on the diagnostic test? Why would those codes show up? I just replaced the motherfucker. So I'm thinking I bought some spark plugs today because I haven't changed them since I've owned the vehicle. But I'm guessing I might have to get a pigtail. It's called a pigtail, which is a little, and the thing that sucks about it is because if there is a broken wire, I don't know where, I can't pinpoint it because the wire actually goes from the mass airflow sensor all the way back. So that break could be far back where nobody can get to it. And the pigtail is only yay long, so it might not correct the problem. I could go and buy that and I wouldn't know that the problem would still exist. So and they want to charge $35 just for a little piece of fucking wire? Like, seriously? It's not cheap. When you're, repairing your vehicle, it's just not fucking cheap. And I know most of you watching this are thinking to yourselves, yeah, tell me about it. I got a friend right now, she owned a Jeep, and she said she's never paid so much in her life for repairs. And Jeeps are made here in Michigan, by the way. Owned by General Motors, or as Dad calls them, Generous Motors. I don't know, Dad, what do you think it is with my van?
I don't know. It's running good now.
Yeah, it ran like a charm today.
And it's just, I don't know. It's just weird.
I know it was super cold yesterday. I don't know if that would have anything to do with it missing, though. Like, there's a misfire in the engine. I don't know.
No, it wouldn't. That guy's down the road because it's been warmed up. And it was warmed up today, Jared. You see how good it runs.
Yeah, it ran like a charm. I know it needs an oil change, and I'm gonna take care of that this week. Yeah, I got spark plug. I might not even have to swap out the spark plugs, but they're always good to have. And it's better to have something when you don't need it than to need it and not have it. So, I'm gonna take my van to Fast Eddie's in Owasso? Fast Eddie tomorrow? Oh yeah, the viewing is tomorrow. The funeral's tomorrow for Brian. So I guess what they're going to do at Fast Eddie is, not only am I going to get an oil change, a 3,000 mile oil change is what they call it. So it's going to set me back about $43. They're going to do the 5-point inspection, I think is what it's called. Isn't that what it's called? Like they check my tire pressure, they check the additives in the reservoirs. They do all that stuff, check my blinkers and brake lights and all that stuff. You're gonna call Muffler Man tomorrow? Yeah, because I desperately have to get an oil change. I'm like 5,000 miles over, so I really need to get an oil change, like as quickly as possible. But I just want to have a good, dependable vehicle because I have plans this year to do stuff, and I want to go to the Motown Museum if, COVID permitting. I would like to go to the Motown Museum. I don't know what the stipulations are for, prior to entering into the Motown Museum. I don't know if you have to show a Vax card or if you have to wear a mask. I don't know. It'll be something I look into. obviously. And I'm planning a trip to Mackinac Island sometime this year. I've never been on Mackinac Island, which I'm looking forward to that. And I would like to go to the joining of the 3 states, Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. There is a marker to where all 3 of the states join together, and I wanna take some video and perhaps, make a little, video for my YouTube channel here. Um, so yeah, there's all kinds of things I wanna do, but I gotta have a good running vehicle to do this. So I wanna make sure I get all the repairs, get everything taken care of, and, then I don't have to worry about that later. But hopefully I tackle the issue with the misfire. But it ran like a charm today. It didn't miss one time going down the road. When we went to my grandpa's and we went to Bauman Brothers Auto Parts. Well, no, it's not missing now. It's parked in the driveway, but no, there was no misfire at all. Um, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I can get it fixed. Ugh, nose itches. I thought there was something else I wanted to talk about. I think I covered all the bases. What I wanted. There was actually I talked about and I pointed this out on Facebook today in a post about young boys, preferably men, young boys who want to join the military. They want to join the armed forces. And on Facebook, I noticed that there's a lot of young men who want to join the military for whatever reason, which if they have legitimate reasons to join, that's entirely up to them. But I pointed out that um, if your only intention or goal of joining the military is to impress a girl, or you think because you score big on some combat video game that you can handle the armed forces, then my advice to you is to not join. Because my dad was in the military for 6 years, my dad and my uncle Tim, and they've told me things about the military between the two of them that it just makes the hair stand up on the back of your neck. Just thinking about the things that they would make them do, and the fact that you have a commanding officer or a drill sergeant only mere inches from your face screaming at you, insulting you, making horrible remarks about your mother and things like that. You have to have the right temperament for that. You just have to, you gotta be strong both mentally and physically to, be able to take that. I don't think I could do it even if I was able to join the military, which I'm not. Um, I don't think I would like that all that much. I wouldn't want some strange guy, trying to toughen me up. That's the excuse. Well, I wouldn't say that's the excuse they give because it actually does toughen you up. Um, but you have to have you have to have mental and physical endurance to be able to handle shit being thrown at you. And there's a lot of young kids who want to join the army. They think it's all peachy keen and oh, it's just like summer camp. No, it's not. You don't get to run back home to mommy to have your fucking nose wiped just because a drill sergeant or commanding officer got in your face and called your mom a dirty name or whatever. You don't get to just leave whenever you want. Then you'll be called as a deserter. You'll be known as a deserter, which also carries some very, very harsh penalties. And you don't want to get court martialed for anything. And, my dad knows more about that than I do, but it's just, I pointed out that there's a lot of young kids who just want to join the military to impress a girl or to exercise their machismo, and I think it's a bunch of garbage. My dad enlisted in the military back in 1977. He had a wife and child to support, and he was just trying to make a living, and he um, wanted to give back to his country, obviously. Um, And so he did that. He was in the army for 6 years, and, he would send money home to his first wife and my brother, Wayne, at the time, because Wayne was just a baby, because he went in the same year that Wayne was born. And, the military is no game. It's not a game. It's not a joke. It's not like Cub Scouts. It's not like summer camp or any of that shit. The military is the fucking military, and you have to be able to handle everything thrown at you. You got to have the mental and physical stability and stamina and strength. And you have to have an endurance for things like that, because if you don't, you're going to be the weakest link. And by what I understand, what one soldier does, if they fuck up one too many times, the entire platoon has to pay for it. My dad told me stories about the military where you'd get one soldier, one trainee, he'd end up, pissing off and screwing up. And the commanding officers, drill sergeants and such, would hold the entire platoon accountable by doing push-ups and exercises and cleaning and all that shit. But they would also get their revenge on the weak link, so to speak. Trust me, that's not something you want to get mixed up in. And I always tell and my dad even tells kids, young guys, that you talk about it, but I want you to think very long and hard about that. Because it's not, you don't just, joining the military is not a throwaway. That's really something you have to think about. You have to consider being away from your family. You have to consider a lot of things. And it's not easy. It's really, really hard. And then, well, I want to join the army. I'm thinking of joining the military. Well, think more. Think harder. Because it's just like, what are you trying to prove? If you're not in it for the right reasons, you're gonna fuck up a lot. And I don't know. I don't know if it's just these young boys are insecure about how strong they are. They're trying to impress a girl. That's not a reason to join the military. I'm sorry, it's just not. You join the military because not only is it a way to support your family, but you're fighting for the rights of the American people. You're exercising your willingness to fight for a country that has given you so much. So, and I think it's safe to say that joining the military, that's something that it becomes a part of your life. I mean, when you get involved with military stuff, when you join the military, it becomes a part of your life. And my dad will tell you. My dad will fill you in on that. And I'm trying to figure out why at the top of my screen, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but there is this thing at the top of my screen here. It says enter your search item. Well, why would it say enter your search item? Doesn't make any sense. I don't want to click on it because I don't want to fuck up my live. I don't know. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's definitely showing up on my screen. Yeah. But anyway, I was just telling the viewers, you probably heard what I was saying about kids who want to join the military. It's not a joke. It's not a game. You really got to consider exactly what that entails when you join the military. Can you handle some guy or woman, even, whoever your drill sergeant is or commanding officer, can you handle them getting only mere inches from your face and screaming vulgarities and making remarks about your mother? Can you handle that? You can't hit them because you'll get court-martialed. You can't go home when you want to, because then you're a deserter. And if you go home, if you sneak out of the platoon, they can forfeit your pay. They can even put you in jail, because I think that's a federal offense. Yeah, it's just nothing it's no joke. And I think I've made that point clearly. Something to think about for you young men. And by the way, when you turn 18, I think they're still pushing it where you have to sign up for selective service. They're not pushing that. I see it at the post office all the time. They say when you turn 18, that's
You have to sign up for it. Yeah.
it's still at the post office.
Turn 18.
Yeah.
There's no draft, so yeah.
Yeah, but it's still at the post office is the point. And it says by law, when men who turn 18 have to sign up. I did. I registered for Selective Service, but even if that were the case, they wouldn't call me in for, I got too many health issues, so they wouldn't call me anyway. But anyway, there's just so much going on. So much has happened this past week, and this week will be busy again. Yeah, this week's going to be busy. I got to take care of that business tomorrow. I have to go to the funeral home to say my goodbyes and pay my final respects to my cousin Brian. And then I got to go to Fast Eddie's to get my oil change. And then on Tuesday, I got to pay bills on Tuesday for February's bills. Yeah. On the 28th, yeah. My brother Wayne, well, I'll say I don't want to give his age away, but I'm going to. My brother Wayne's going to be 45. He's going to be 45. Amy will be 50 in August. Dad'll be 64 or 65. Yeah, Uncle Danny will be 65. That's right. You'll be 64. Wayne will be 45. Jay will be 42. And I'll be 36 in July. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Well, of course. Of course I'll still need you. And I'll still feed you. And I have no doubt that I'll still be feeding you. Because, my nose itches. Because you say that I make a pretty damn good chili. I make good chili. Better than mine, Dad says.
It's good because Crystal eats it.
Yeah.
She never ate chili before. She likes it.
I have never had any complaints about my chili. Never any complaints. Yeah. Well,
I like it that way.
I agree. I chop up a couple of green peppers, a couple of onions, and fry the hamburger and pepper.
Sometimes venison.
And yeah, sometimes venison, and then I add 2 cans of tomato juice and a couple cans of tomato sauce, and then I add a couple cans of diced tomatoes. Yeah, and then I just mix it all together. Dad says, "Don't give your recipe away." Everybody makes chili differently. I know there's people who add corn to chili. My brother Wayne. I'm sorry, Wayne.
You're a good cook, Bobby.
You're a good cook. He is a good cook. My brother Wayne can cook. But corn and chili, corn doesn't belong in chili. I'm sorry. But my brother Wayne is a good cook. We've had Thanksgiving dinner at his house, and he would always have the spiral ham with the lemon, right? Is it lemon? Spiral ham.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, pineapple. Pineapple. Why was I thinking? Oh, because it's yellow. He adds pineapple to lemon. Yeah. Well, why did I say? Why was I thinking lemon? I don't know. Wayne adds pineapple to his spiral ham, and it actually tastes good. I like the way he prepares stuff. I know Wayne can cook. Jay can cook. I can cook stuff. Dad's a good cook. And Amy, she's good at putting bread in the toaster. No, I'm kidding. She makes good meatloaf, and she makes good tuna noodle casserole. And Yeah, Amy knows I'm goofing off, but yeah,
Tell her cook, just get her off her ass to do it.
yeah, Amy, you got to get off your ass and cook sometimes.
You need a home cooked meal.
I want a woman's touch. You know, we get tired of cooking. Oh, that might be Amy right there.
No, Jay.
Oh, neither.
Hello.
Who is it?
Hello. Hey, what are you doing? Not much. Sitting here at the house.
Who is that?
Mark. Sitting here at the
Oh,
house.
it's Uncle Mark. Uncle Mark
What
Perkins.
are you doing? What's that? Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry for the dead air, guys. I'm just waiting for him to end his phone conversation. What was that about?
Uncle Mark, that's what we were doing.
He ain't stopping in, is he?
I don't know.
Well,
I couldn't hear him. Well,
we got like 9 minutes left of the show anyway. Here we're talking about food, and Grandpa sent home some macaroni and cheese with us.
good stuff.
Yeah, it's good. But I'm really, to get back to what I was saying earlier about the information we found out about our family. I mean, that's fucking mind-blowing stuff. And a grandfather who was born in Staffordshire, England. I mean, that's remarkable. So we've got like British ancestry, but we've got Irish, German.
My great grandpa was a military man when World War II.
Who's here? Who's here? Who's that?
Come on.
Hey, we're live right now, Mark. You can come in, but
Yeah, we're live right now.
yeah, we're live on YouTube. So, but we're counting down to the end of the show. But we got lots of information about our ancestry and relatives and such. It's just really fascinating. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, my great grandpa was a World War II veteran.
Yeah, and it's just really cool stuff. And one of our ancestors just walked through the door. Actually, Uncle Mark is younger than my dad by like 7 years, I think.
He's 56.
Yeah, Dad was born in 58 and Uncle Mark was born in 65. You're 56, right?
Are you 55 years old?
56, yeah.
I'm 63.
Yeah, Uncle Mark was born in 65 and Dad was born in 58. It's amazing how your uncle's younger than you are. But it's just, Grandpa and Grandma had 10 kids, and my grandma, Dad's mom, was the oldest of the 10, and Mark was the youngest of the 10. So yeah, like my mom's mom, she had a hobby. That's why she had 17 kids, and my mom was the last of 17. So I come from a very large family on all sides. Actually, I got family all over. My dad's mom, my grandma, was the oldest of 10 from my grandpa and grandma Perkins. And then my grandma Perkins had a brother named Jerry Davis. He had 14. And then on my mom's side, my mom is the last of 17. So there's cousins and aunts and uncles that I probably have never met, and they're out there. And then getting this information today from my grandpa Fuller about my grandma Violet Giroux's brothers and sisters, which I've never met. Our Aunt Virginia passed away, what was it, last year? And she was like 97 years old. And was that in Saginaw? Yeah. The funeral was in Saginaw. So I know I've got cousins I've never met. I definitely, from my grandma Violet's, brothers and sisters, her nieces and nephews would be Grandpa Fuller's cousins. And yeah,
you're related to those boys, which you never met either.
Yeah, there's cousins I've never met in my life. And here's a funny story. Back in high school, I was talking to, I think it was a teacher, one of the other classmates, about how my uncle, Clement Fuller, was a Ringling brother in the Barnum and Bailey Circus. And that's true. He was. And this other girl who overheard the conversation, she says, She says, "Did you say Clement Fuller?" I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Did you say Barnum and Bailey Circus?" I said, "Yep." And she says, "Well, he was my grandpa." And I'm what? He was your grandpa? I said, "He was my uncle." And she says, "I think we're related." I said, "Well, I guess we are related." It's a small world. You just never know. And I make this joke all the time with dad. I tell him, I say, I said, I'm never going to go on the dating sites. He says, "Why?" He says, "Because I could be dating a fucking cousin and not even know it." I got so many cousins out there, relatives. I don't know who's related to me and who isn't. I could be sleeping with someone or fall in love with someone who's related to me. And I don't go for that incest shit. I don't go for that incest shit. So, yeah, there because there's just so many relatives, people, I could pass them walking down the street and not recognize they're my relative. Not know nothing about them, and they could be related for all I fucking know. It's really there's a lot of a lot of us out there. Um, yeah, I think it's fascinating. There's well, I can say this much, Dad. You don't try to hook up with women at family reunions.
No.
You don't try to.
You might be a redneck.
Yeah, you might be a redneck if you go to your family reunions to meet women. That's a Jeff Foxworthy joke, by the way. But it does ring some truth. Um, I'm not a redneck. I don't date relatives, but it's really something. But anyway, guys, we are winding down. Well, we got about 4 minutes left of the show here, and we're gonna sit here and probably visit with Uncle Mark for the next little while. He didn't realize that I was live on YouTube, and so here we are. And he come walking in. So, yeah, you're on camera, Uncle Mark, but not to fear. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna nobody's gonna remember. But unless they just keep playing the video back over and over and over again, then they'll try to figure out who is that guy? Who is that guy? It's Uncle Mark, my grandma's brother. Um, so I think I pretty much talked about everything I wanted to talk about this week. I pretty much covered everything. Amy should be back next week for next week's Sunday video, which, let's see, today is the 30th. So I think next Sunday is February 6th, if I'm doing the mental calendar. Yeah, today is the 30th. So I think next Sunday is February 6th. In any event, I'll be here next week. We'll have more to talk about next week. I haven't been out to Billy's in a month. There's just so much going on. We got property taxes coming up in February, and I gotta make sure that my vehicle gets the repairs necessary that it needs to continue use. Got a funeral tomorrow. I just it's gonna be, and I gotta pay bills on Tuesday, so I'm gonna be in Owasso, Chesaning, and probably back home on Tuesday. So I'll probably get the oil change. Should I get it tomorrow?
Well, we'll check them out for me and see how much they charge.
Yeah, you're gonna call them tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'll call them.
Call them in the morning and find out how much their oil changes are, because I desperately need an oil change from it. I would say that 5,000 miles over the mark. I'm way overdue for an oil change. I don't want to fuck up the engine or any of the other constituent parts of the vehicle. So we got to get that done. But we're down to the last minute of the Sunday video update for this week. Dad, is there anything you want to say before we go?
Yeah, all I say is be safe and everything, and take care of your neighbors.
Be safe and take care of your neighbors. I'd ask Uncle Mark if he had anything he wanted to add, but probably not. I will say this though before we go. My Aunt Joyce is not doing well. She's got issues with COPD. She's in the hospital. So Aunt would be Mark's sister. So Aunt Joyce, we love you. We hope you get better soon. And we'll be thinking about you and keeping you in our thoughts. And I don't think Uncle Mark's going to have anything to say because he doesn't know how we do things. He doesn't watch YouTube. But it is officially 4 o'clock Eastern time. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared Bear. Thanks for stopping by this week for the Sunday video update. I'll be here next Sunday. Same Jared Bear time, same Jared Bear channel. So much love to all you guys. I'll see you next week. Peace.